Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys doing well. How are you guys doing? I hope that you're staying strong and being able to persevere and fight back against the gang stalkers. I don't necessarily mean physically, but I mean more like spiritually, psychologically. Our best way to stay, motivated and protecting ourselves against the gang stalkers is actually to maintain our psychological health, to remain as healthy and motivated as possible. The happier you are, the more it pisses off the gang stalkers. And I can actually give you many examples of occurrences that happened to me with the gang stalkers that showed me, literally showed me that there is nothing in this world that pisses off the gang stalkers more than you being happy. If you are happy, as a TI, you're happy, that is gonna piss off the gang stalkers so much. You're gonna see them rage sometimes. I mean this, guys. Absolutely raging when they see you happy. And I've had so many instances where that occurred. Like I said, I usually spend some time in McDonald's because I don't have Wi-Fi in my home, and so I go to McDonald's like to just check up on stuff, upload videos, that kind of stuff. Might spend like an hour or 2 hours drinking coffee or whatever. And one day I was like looking at some videos or something, and I'm usually quite euphoric. I'm somebody who's usually quite euphoric, like because of all the raw liver and raw meat that I'm eating on a daily basis. I always feel quite high, you know, and that's actually something that people complain about. The gang stalkers. All they keep saying to me in German is "immer hoch, immer hoch, immer hoch," and "hoch" means high in German. So what they mean to say, basically in German, what it means is like somebody who is always like happy, you know, almost like you're high on drugs or something, but in a good way. But it's so, I find it quite weird that these people have no wherewithal or ability to self-reflect about what they're really saying. Because when you're complaining about me being happy, what this is showing is that that you're really a miserable person, a miserable wretch. And if you're so offended by somebody just being happy, that goes to prove that you are a miserable person. You're a toxic person. You're an unhealthy, depressed person, and you should probably try to fix that instead of complaining or being jealous of other people being happy. But yeah, I mean, it happened to me sometimes, So sorry, so many times it happened to me with the gang stalking. Like gang stalkers follow me around and complaining that I'm immer hoch, and I'm like, yeah, I'd rather be happy than sad. Like, what is this, man? Is this a fucking joke? I when I started doing this, I actually thought these guys were fucking joking. I mean, I thought these guys were like some kind of like satire or something. I mean, like, what is this? Like, I would never imagine myself complaining that somebody else is happy. That to me, that sounds like a good thing. But yeah, the gang stalkers do. By the way, I just could talk about this a little bit and then get into the meat of the matter to get into the actual topic that I want to talk about. But yeah, they get really pissed off. They get really angry when they see you happy. And many times, like I'd be sitting watching a video and be laughing. I laugh a lot. I giggle and laugh all the time because I'm so happy. Raw meat, man, the fucking raw meat and raw liver, guys. You have no idea when you start eating raw liver, man. It's just the nutrients, I mean, all that vitamin A and B vitamins. Fuck, man. But yeah, so I'll be sitting there down there and watching a video or something, or receiving some kind of voice clip or something from somebody that I'm talking to and just laughing. And there's some like English dudes that came here to Herne. I live here in Herne. It's a place called Herne, and they were visiting basically for the Euro Cup, watching the matches because England is playing the Euro Cup matches. They're hosting the matches all over, pretty much all over Germany, Gelsenkirchen, Dortmund, all sorts of places. And when he saw me laughing, he got so fucking angry and started cussing at me, and he was like, you faggot, you chicken, are you actually laughing, yeah? And I'm like, this guy's nuts, man. You know what I mean? You're fucking nuts, bro. you know I'm gonna switch to English. Mate, Mate, you nuts, mate. You bonkers, man. Man, you bonkers, man. You absolutely bonkers, man. You freaking lost your head, man. You fucking twat. You fucking twat. I love that word, man. Oh man, I love the English accent. I spent like 8 years living in England, man. It was. I was not actually very happy when I was living in England. Well, at least the first few years, but it got better over time. But yeah, I mean, he was very dissatisfied with me being happy. When he saw me happy, it really triggered him and angered him. You know, he had a little bit of a hissy fit. You know. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, he saw me laughing and he just fucking like cussed me out. I mean, not to my face, but he was like 15 meters away or something. But he said it loud enough in front of his friends that I could hear him. And I was like, bro, you're ridiculous, man. You're literally sitting here cussing me out and calling me a, I don't know, he's chicken faggot or some shit like that. And like, what are you actually laughing? You know, these guys don't believe that you have rights. You know, they don't believe that you have rights. They don't believe that you have the right to live. They don't believe that you have the right to be happy. They want you to be miserable, to be toxic, to be depressed, to be like a slave. And talking about slavery, this is actually what the topic of this video is. Yeah, so over the years, I've been doing some research and doing a lot of thinking. I'm a very contemplative person. I think a lot about what's happening in the world, society, and my thinking is always geared towards what is the best philosophy? How should life be lived? And what is the right thing to do? Because this life is very short, and you have to squeeze out as much milk from those proverbial breasts, so to speak, almost like a baby needs nutrition from his mother, right? It's kind of like that. You have to squeeze out as much of that life, you know, carpe diem. You know, you have to really squeeze out as much juice as you can from this life, because life is short, and if you have a bad philosophy, you know, I mean, being too philosophical is maybe not a good thing. You have to actually start doing things, but before you do something, you have to figure out what the right philosophy. You know, I think, you know, thought about that many times, and I looked around me, I realized just how sick, absolutely sick and abject and dilapidated this society is around me, just how toxic it is. And I realized something, which is that this society is basically based on slavery. It's all slavery. And when did it start? It actually started with the first the beginning of civilization in like Babylon and in Egypt. You know, when we as humans started to build metropolises and cities is exactly when the slavery happened. You can look it up, by the way. It's a historical, like a fact of history that there was no slavery before. There's something that you will be shocked maybe to learn is that hunter-gatherers and primitive people that live in the jungle, in the wilderness, and even pastoralists, the people that keep cattle, but nomads in general, don't have slaves. They don't own slaves. They don't believe in slavery. And yeah, so this slavery actually started with, you know, Babylon, with Egypt, China, you know, the first India, the first civilizations. When we as humans decided to start building civilization and build cities, is exactly the time when slavery started. All these problems started, and it's been quite an issue. And when I looked around me in the society, I realized just how much slavery there is. Everything that they try to get you to do in this society is either a form of brainwashing of some sort or slavery, like outright slavery. Now, it used to be back in ancient times, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, that you would actually be called a slave. Nowadays, they would not actually call you a slave, but you will be a slave, or you are a slave in their eyes. But they'll you know, you'll just be a wage slave. You know, you'll be working like a slave, in Burger King, in McDonald's. Basically, how do you know that you're being enslaved? How do you know that you're a slave? Basically, whenever you're doing things that you wouldn't normally do, things that you don't want to do against your will, just to survive and have resources, which of course you're being, it also involves a lot of dependency. You're dependent on somebody else, your employer, for example, pay you a paycheck so you can feed yourself, which is pathetic. You know, from nature's perspective, is absolutely pathetic. People in nature would look at you, they would fucking laugh at you. They're like, "What? This is what you do every day? Like you spend 8 hours at Burger King, fucking doing things that you don't want to do and saying things that you don't want to do, and hello, sir, and how are you today, sir, and thank you, sir." You know what I mean? It's pathetic. It's clownish. It's absolutely clownish. And our ancestors and even the primitive people, hunter gatherers that still live in the jungle nowadays, would look at that and absolutely laugh. And it's not only that, it's the fact that you actually depend on somebody else for resources is absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Because they don't have that concept. They wake up every day, they got spears, they got bows and arrows, string their bows and arrows, go tracking prey for 2 or 3 hours, get as much, kill as many, monkeys and deer and gazelles or whatever birds they can get, and they can feed themselves. They're self-reliant. Now, some morons will come and say, "Oh yeah, but work is a lot like that, right? Isn't hunting like a type of work?" No, it isn't. This is the thing that people don't realize. Um, First of all, humans are programmed, engineered to enjoy hunting and killing animals. We enjoy this. It's like when you look at these primitive tribes like the Hadza, they love doing this shit. It's not they don't get up all groggy in the morning and like, "Oh man, I gotta go hunt some animals." No, man, they're fucking excited. They're happy. Like, "Man, we're gonna get this baboon. Let's throw some rocks at it. Like, let's scare it," and fucking like laughing laughing at those baboons and raiding their camps and killing them. You know what I mean? They enjoy it. They don't do things that they don't like to do. For example, right now, like I'm not doing something that I don't like to do. I'm doing this video because I want to express myself. I like doing this video. I'm not doing this because somebody wants me to do it or I have to do it for something. No, I don't get paid anything on this channel. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, how did you know that you're a slave? Basically, you're dependent. You're dependent on somebody else for resources. You shouldn't be. In nature, you shouldn't be dependent on anybody for resources. And you're doing things that you would not normally do or want to do. You're being forced to do things that you would not normally do, and that's slavery. And the monetary system is slavery. I always say that money or currency is the lubricant of slavery. Money and currency is the lubricant of slavery. It facilitates slavery. It doesn't actually abolish slavery. It makes it easier because for there to be an economic and financial system that is based on money, will need slavery. You will need employees. You will need people to do jobs and work and that kind of stuff. And nowadays they use different euphemisms. They say, "Oh, I'll give you a job," or "You're gonna work." But work and job is just another way of saying you're gonna be a slave, because they don't want to use that word slave because it's too strong and it's gonna put excuse me put people off. They don't want the slaves to wake up and realize, "Hey, it's all shit." Like we shouldn't be doing this, right? So yeah, I mean, after looking at the society around me and for many, many years, and of course, when I started eating raw meat, I started thinking different as well, and realizing all the bullshit and nonsense that this society is built upon. And I realized that humans should just be living in nature. This environment that we live in, this civilization, is complete nonsense. And I realized as well that that career that I built up, and I was actually pretty good at my job, and I used to make a lot of money, and I had a pretty decent salary. And it's like a respectable career as well. Like I was working in like food law advisory and food law legislation, which is kind of like a niche. It's just a niche sort of career within the food industry, but hey, whatever, I mean, I was making a lot of money and that kind of stuff, but worked for like 5, 6 years building up that career. But yeah, in the end, I realized, I don't want to work. Work is slavery. Like, I just really don't want to work. There was like this aha moment in my head. I was like, I don't want to work. Bullshit. I don't want to work. That's just something I don't want to do. Now I see it as being demeaning. I see it as being complete nonsense. And what I realize is that humans should just be living a natural. You should be living as close to nature as you can. You should just get out of this society. And by the way, guys, now is a really good time to get out of society. I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you've been, but I'm sure you've noticed that shit is hitting the fan. Things are going bad. People going crazy. Things are not normal anymore. What I mean? It's not just me saying this. There's that psychologist, Mackler. He was also saying this. Sam Vaknin, Professor Sam Vaknin, a psychologist, also saying this. Everybody is saying this. I mean, we see it around us. But yes, it's high time to get out of society. And I think the closer you live with nature, the happier you're going to be. And this is my goal. This is my goal right now. This is what I'm trying to do. And that was the reason why I, said that I wanted to meet as many TIs as I can, because I'm, trying to gear towards forming the off-grid TI community. I think that's an absolutely important thing to do. I think we should absolutely form that community, and it can be done, and it's not that difficult. And some people might see it as a loss. I don't see it that way at all. I really want to get out of this society. I really want to form an off-grid TI community. I just want to live in the wilderness, with the animals, and to live a natural life surrounded by healthy, normal thinking people. I don't want to be in this piece of shit society. Excuse my language. I just don't want to be in this society. So yeah, I want to live a natural life, and I'm geared towards that. And like I said before, if any one of you is interested, please let me know. I would love to meet you personally, get to know you, and we can discuss how to do this. Pretty much what we're two people right now who are we're two people right now who are agreed upon this plan, and we're trying to work towards it, and we're going to achieve it hopefully in a couple of months. Basically, right now the only thing stopping us is money. Basically, we have to gather some finances, a couple of thousand euros, basically to finance the initial investments, because obviously we need a lot of cattle. Sheep is not really cheap. It's not a cheap commodity to get sheep. But yeah, I mean, it can be done, and I believe this. If you work towards something, you will eventually achieve it. This is my belief. If you plow through, you're gonna make it. And yeah, definitely, guys. I don't know if maybe you have some doubts about me being genuine or something like that. We can always meet, and I will prove to you. You will see when you meet me personally. You will see that I'm absolutely determined, and I'm not bullshitting. I am not a disingenuous person. I am not a plant. I mean, I'm definitely geared towards this plan, and I'm definitely trying to gather people to create an off-grid TI community. And I'm thinking also about the great things that can come out of it. Living peacefully, not having to deal with gang stalking and gang stalkers, having numbers in case gang stalkers do come. We can push back against them. We can, tell them to deet off. We can tell them to leave, and they will leave. Of course, when they see 10 to 20 people, they will be scared and they will leave. And of course, it's not only about that. Maybe people can, nothing wrong, for you to, how do I say this? I have nothing against, people, how to say this, getting together, making relationships, getting married, having kids, that kind of stuff within the community. It's absolutely a good thing. And I'm thinking also about the future. Like, it's not just about us. It's not going to be just about us in the moment. I'm thinking like long term forward. This community, this is what I'm hoping for the community. I have a vision for it as well, is that it's going to be in the future. It's going to be something that is going to last for generations upon generations upon generations. I mean, people come into the community and they get married and they have kids, and those kids gonna grow up in those conditions and that beautiful fucking community, and they're gonna have kids as well, and they're gonna teach that lifestyle, that lifestyle, taking care of sheep and living a natural life, eating meat and healthy things, and just living in nature. You know what I mean? And that can definitely endure for many multiple generations. And you never know. I mean, we could start out with 2 members right now, then it can, maybe more people would be convinced to join, and that we can get more and more people to, the numbers can grow astronomically. You'd be surprised. I mean, maybe at some point there'll be so many people requesting to join, even from fucking like people from America, from Australia, saying, "Hey, man, I really want to join, man." And we'd be like, "Bro, I'm sorry, but we got no place for you." You know what I mean? Just imagine that at some point it can happen. But yeah, think about the long term things going to happen. Like we can grow things, and we can be the voice of reason in an unreasonable time. As things are collapsing, I'm sure you've noticed things are collapsing around us, especially in Europe and in America. I don't know if you've noticed it, but politically and socially and psychologically and mentally and emotionally and in every way possible, financially even, things really are collapsing in Europe and America. Some parts of the world are getting better, like the Middle East and Africa, and Russia and China are getting better, whilst Europe and America are definitely falling behind in many, many ways. And of course, recently I saw, piece of news. Something really horrible happened here in Germany. That was in Hamburg. Hamburg is in the north of Germany, close to the borders with Denmark. A German woman, a 15-year-old, was walking in a park at night. She got gang raped for multiple hours by 11 different, like, I don't know, foreigners and refugees. There were like Syrian, Turkish, Afghani, Armenian, and Arab, and all sorts of different nationalities mixed in, and some Montenegrin or whatever. And they took turns to rape her. And guess what happened? The horrible thing is not that this rape happened. Rape happens all the time. Look at South Africa. South Africa has crazy rape statistics. But rape happens all the time. But the horrible thing was that out of all of these 11 people that took part in this rape, this gangbang, only one of them went to jail and actually served time. And the remaining 10 only got probation. Guys, 10 dudes involved in rape, actual rape of a German woman, as in a woman from the nationality of the people hosting these people who are foreigners. Didn't even serve time in jail, only got probation. They're out walking. No, right now they're walking on the streets. Probably gonna go rape someone else. Guys, the world is going completely nuts, okay? The world is going cuckoo banana. Our community of TIs, we need to get together because times are going completely nuts and we need to get out of this society. This society is insane. This society is toxic. I don't care what anybody says. I don't listen to what people say anymore. This society has